mother, it's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just the
duo
of feathery brethren, weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo and Zach kicking it cooler than
two.
When still Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping.
We are going to rip out the hearts of other podcasts. We are going to bite off their eyeballs. We're going to start every segment watching the scene from The Last of the Mohicans where the guy takes a bite out of the other guy's heart. We may not be good, but we're going to be nasty. We're going to reflect the blue-collar nature of this city. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a post-game Birds with Friends. It is Sunday evening, about 10:12 p.m. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Dunn here to talk about the 7-0 Eagles, who put together perhaps their most complete performance of the season in dusting the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-13 and winning the Battle of Pennsylvania, I guess, like hopefully as soundly as one might hope that a native Pennsylvanian defeats a person who lives in New Jersey, among many other places not in Pennsylvania. Zach, how are you?
Doing great. Excited for this podcast.
Marissa, what's popping?
Not much. The Browns play tomorrow night, so I had a Sunday at home watching football, so it was great. Lots of swooper implications we'll get to later in the show, obviously, but excited for the pod. Excited to hear what you guys have to say. I couldn't believe how long the starters got to sit towards the end of the game, so really excited to hear everything you guys have to say about this one.
Yes, we will talk about A.J. Brown's big performance. We will talk about Jalen Hurts against the blitz. We'll talk about the defense getting 6 sacks and forcing 2 turnovers. We'll talk about the swooper implications. We will talk about a grouse that's been sitting with me since Saturday morning, and it has been like ruining my weekend. We can get to that. But Zach, I guess let's start with, do you think this was, I mean, we have to consider that this was not the highest level of competition, but the Eagles have played other teams who are not super high level competition, it seems like. Would you say this was the best Eagles performance of the season?
If you remove the context of the competition, like you mentioned, then yes, in terms of the way they played, I was so impressed with this Eagles performance, both sides of the ball, but in particular, Jalen Hurts. So much of the conversation about Jalen Hurts going back to the summer, going back to after that Bucs game last year, was his development as a passer. And speaking to Lane Johnson after the game, he talked about training camp and the joint practices in particular when they passed the ball so much, knowing they needed to improve in that area this year. And what you saw from Jalen Hurts today was as impressive of a passing performance as he's had in an Eagles uniform. He ran the ball only 2 times. If you simply looked at his performance, you take away the fact that he barely ran, it would stack up against the top passing quarterbacks in the NFL. And it wasn't like he had guys running open. He put the ball placement, the decision making, top of the line there. So you always start with the quarterback. And then I thought that they ran when they needed to run. The skill players were outstanding. A.J. Brown in particular, you showed why you acquired him. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they pressured the quarterback, right? They had 6 sacks. They had 2 takeaways, and they were outstanding on third downs. So you put all this together. Yes, this was the most complete performance they had.
I think I would probably still say the Vikings win was their most impressive game because it was a slightly higher level of competition. We hadn't seen Jalen Hurts throw like that against a zone-heavy defense, and the defense was maybe a little bit more aggressive against Kirk Cousins. But that said, I mean, this was a fantastic performance for all the reasons that you said. You said Jalen Hurts ran only twice in this game. His previous low this season, 9. So for him to lead such a productive offense is another indication and another proof of concept that this offense can win in so many different ways. And that is, I think, we're going to be having the conversation about level of competition for a while, but I think it's really impressive that this team is able to win in so many different ways. Miles Sanders only had 9 carries in this game. He ran for like 78 yards. He had a pretty good day. But like, they didn't have to run the ball. They didn't have to pound out those like 8-minute drives to salt away a game in this game. Jalen Hurts was very comfortable throwing the ball. And I think we saw several layers of the self-scouting come to roost here. The Eagles breaking some tendencies, the things that they wanted to fix. One thing they wanted to fix, they got blitzed at a heavy rate the last couple games. And they got blitzed at an even higher rate in this game by the Steelers. Steelers blitzed, I think, about 59% of Jalen Hurts' dropbacks. And against the blitz in the past 3 games, their answer was to get the ball out quickly. And they did not create many explosive plays out of that. Today, they were able to get the ball downfield. Jalen Hurts threw 5 passes of 20 yards or more downfield in this game. He had thrown only 3 combined in the 3 previous games. 2 of the A.J. Brown touchdowns came against the blitz. I think you saw that they had gamed that up and were ready for that. On defense, we talked about how the Eagles' defensive line had like stunts in games at a lower rate than almost any team in the league. We saw several little games up front that sprung sacks. The first for Hassan Reddick. Javon Hargrave, one of his 2 sacks came via that. You had talked in the preview, Zach, about Dallas Goedert on 3rd down. They hit him 3 times on 3rd down today. I think this was like an indication that for like the concerns that they might come off the bye a little rusty or a little bored of like chasing the wins, they were very buttoned up. They scored a touchdown on the opening drive. They were very sharp, and I think you give credit to the coaching staff for getting the players to do that. You give credit to the players, obviously, but also, like as Nick Siriani said, to the whole infrastructure of the organization. They were able to implement these sort of self-scouting things that helped really lead to what turned out to be a very easy win.
Yes, I'm glad you touched on the bye because that was the lead of my story, which is now up on The Athletic. I feel obligated to cross-promote there. Nick Siriani and his messaging to the team from the Wednesday meeting when the players returned was that they must avoid a letdown after the bye, that they are not going to tolerate a letdown after the bye. His language was a little more colorful than what I just used, but Siriani cited specific examples. He cited the New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons in 2019. He cited the Las Vegas Raiders against the New York Giants last year. And by the way, this is from a video released by the Eagles. They have a documentary series on this season, and they have the behind the scenes of Nick Siriani giving this speech. And this was from Wednesday's meeting. So you start there because this was a specific point of emphasis. And then, as you mentioned too, well, what did they do during the bye? The coaches in particular, the self-scouting. It wasn't for naught. It wasn't just a talking point. I know behind the scenes, they were very, for lack of a better term, they were intense about this. They knew there were things that needed to improve. And Sirianni said after the game today that they applied those in this game, that they were much better there in this game. So he didn't want to cite specifically what it was. I know Bo just mentioned a few things there, and I give them credit because what you want to be seeing is a team that gets better throughout the season. You don't want to kind of crescendo in October. You want to get better, and I still think that there's more levels for them to hit.
Hurts goes 19 of 28 for 285 yards, a career high, 4 touchdown passes. It was his highest EPA per dropback of the season. And I think it really does say something that it was his highest EPA per dropback of the season, and he didn't have to run at all. I mean, this is I don't know if it's like the evolution of Jalen Hurts, but I think it's, like we were saying before, continuing to prove that he can lead an offense that can win in different ways and can win with him throwing the ball.
I asked him about this after the game, and I asked specifically, what does this say about your development that you can have a game like this when you run the ball only 2 times? And he said he considers himself a triple threat quarterback, not a dual threat quarterback. And I want to pull up the quote because I thought it was he didn't like shoot down this idea or say like this is something he's always done. His quote was, and I'm gonna read it here. Quote, I think it's bigger than the overall development of one part of my game. I think it's about being able to be a threat in many different ways. That's something that a guy like me has the ability to do. Naturally being able to run, we'll call it a dual threat, but I like to call it a triple threat. You have to be able to kill them with your legs at times, make the throws when you need to in the passing game, and kill them with your mind and with what you see and how you react, because you get to a point where you get different looks and they try and get you, but you have to be ready for all those looks and have an answer for it. So I think that's what you saw today, that he showed parts of his game that have really developed since he came into the NFL.
I think you're a triple threat reporter, Zach.
How so?
You can write, you can podcast, and you can look like a stone cold fox.
I need to get better at all three of those, I suppose. I haven't put much thought into the third, but I need to get better at the first two. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You want to talk about A.J. Brown?
Absolutely. Man,
do you think that A.J. Brown is the best receiver the Eagles have had ever?
So I was talking to Elliot Short-Parks about something similar to this today, and it's hard for me to really give like good perspective on things that happened before I was born, right? So Harold Carmichael is a Hall of Famer. I mean, great numbers, different era, but I never really saw Harold Carmichael other than highlight films, right? In my time, okay, I'm 36 years old. I still think Terrell Owens is the best receiver I've seen. A.J. Brown is as close to T.O. as they've had, and he is awesome. I mean, you spoke to him after the game. I'm curious what he said, but like there were passes today where he had no business catching it, right? Or if they fell incomplete, or even if they were intercepted, you would say, all right, that's a ball in a tight spot. And when the ball when the ball's thrown up there, AJ makes a play, and then he's so quick accelerating in the open field.
He said he was Minka Fitzpatrick caught him from behind in the fourth quarter when he had that catch and run for I think 43 yards, caught him at the 11. He said he thinks that's the first time he's ever been caught from behind. And so Zach Pascal was giving him a lot of guff on the sideline for it, but then Pascal was caught himself later in the game. A.J. Brown in this game, 6 catches, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has now, let me pull it up because I have it in the day after.
Which you can read tomorrow morning on The Athletic.
On the season, he's got 39 catches for 659 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's 6th in the league in receiving yards. Only Jalen Waddle has more yards per reception among the league's top 20 wide receivers, and only Tyreek Hill has more yards per route run. Right now, A.J. Brown is on pace for 1,600 receiving yards on the season. That would obliterate the franchise record, which is Mike Quick's 1,409. Now he's got an extra game in there. And obviously, you know, the receiving numbers are inflated in this era. So I think that you probably would tilt towards like T.O. as a season of dominance, and like Mike Quick's numbers on a season probably stand out more above the pack. And so do Harold's, especially because that was not a passing time. But A.J. Brown's 94.1 receiving yards per game right now would be an Eagles record for a certain number of games played. T.O. was actually higher than that in 2005 when he only played 7 games. But otherwise, it's A.J. Brown. And so I think you probably take eras into account, and you probably tilt T.O. But like if you're talking about evolutionarily, like who's the best receiver who's ever been on the team, it might be A.J. Brown. He's been awesome. It's a little bit like the Eagles as a whole, where he's been so good and yet he hasn't been perfect. just like the team.
Well, to your point about whether he's the best ever, the only thing I could say to that too, well, not the only thing, but something I could say to that too, he's 25 years old, right? Like the Eagles have him now. And he's under contract. What you're seeing now, it's the first 7 games of what could be a Hall of Fame career, and it's happening in Philadelphia. It reminds me I was reading a piece or listening to something on Bryce Harper, and it was like you can talk about the contract and the price, but you get this, whatever it is, you get this Hall of Fame talent in the prime of his career in your uniform. There was no price the Eagles could have paid for AJ Brown that like when you see him play, you're like, that's ridiculous, because you can talk all you want about compensation, but then when you see what he's doing, it changes so much with this offense. Like they got the player. It was such a good trade, and he's just scratching the surface of what he's going to do with the Eagles.
And we've talked about how it's a little bit lucky that they tried to sign all these other or trade for all these other receivers before getting AJ Brown, but that's fine. I mean, it worked out. So kudos to everybody involved.
And the one thing I want to add to that too is this goes to a conversation that we've been having throughout the season about them spreading the ball around and getting the ball to other guys. When someone is that good, you could argue AJ Brown deserves more targets, right? This is AJ Brown's second 100-yard receiving game of the season. I remember saying to you after the Lions game, I think he had 11 catches and 16 targets that game. And I said, when you're that good, you should throw the ball to him more. You shouldn't throw it to Devontae Smith more in that spot, right? There's no amount of times that's too many targets for AJ Brown when he plays the way he's playing.
I think that's right. I mean, the target disparity in this game is funny because I think it's exactly sort of what it should be. It was 11 for AJ Brown, 6 for Dallas Goedert, who caught all 6 for 64 yards, 8 for Devontae Smith, who had sort of a unexplosive day, 5 catches for 23 yards. And then you've got 2 for Pascal, who went 2 for 57 and had a touchdown. And then 1 for Gainwell, 1 for Quez, 1 for Jack Stoll. Like, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but Jack Stoll doesn't need the target, but yeah, that's fine. Yes.
I think that might have been Gardner Minshew late in the game.
Yeah, true.
The actual touchdown plays from AJ Brown, the first one was funny because you watch the replay and we saw it real time in the press box. He's running and then he just sort of stops running, and Jalen Hurts throws the ball up. And it wasn't even like he threw the ball up because it was open. He just sort of trusted AJ Brown up against Minka Fitzpatrick. And so AJ Brown puts the burners on, and Fitzpatrick doesn't really go up and get the ball. He's sort of playing it like a center fielder, and AJ Brown just goes up and gets it. And he said that, he is not really in the progression on that play. He's just running the safety off to open things up for Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts put it up for him, just saw that, put it up for him, and he made a play. And
when the ball was released, when the ball was released, I was like, whoa. You're
right.
throwing that to Steelers in the end zone,
and then he just goes up and gets it. And Hurts talked about it afterwards, right?
Hurts and Siriani did. Here, let me pull that up here. Hurts said that's one thing I try to tell all the receivers is, although the ball is not supposed to go to you, be aware because I might see something on the field that might entice me to make the throw to them. That's what he said. And then Siriani said here. Let me pull this up. Sorry. We had a couple different things going there. We felt like Minka was a little low on the play, and Jalen took advantage of that. Whether he was the primary or not, Jalen did a good job of getting through his read and finding AJ for a touchdown.
And then the second and third touchdowns were sort of identical plays. It was just that beautiful drop in the bucket over his right shoulder down the right sideline that we saw a couple times this summer, and those were beautiful throws from Jalen Hurts. And AJ Brown, credit, did what he could do, stems inside a little bit to create some room on the outside where he can get the back shoulder, and the ball gets there before the safety can get there. But he said, like, both of those plays where he sees he's got single coverage at the line, he's thinking, okay, here we go, and Jalen gets the ball to him. Credit to him. And then I do think that if you score 3 touchdowns, you should be allowed to taunt. He gets a penalty for going 1-2. Like even that guy, that's not enough. So I don't know. I think that's fair.
I thought the second touchdown was such a well-placed pass. And the celebration there, our viewers here who are watching live in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, because they showed it on the TV and I was only watching the small thing next to me. But he was actually signaling that the cornerback was too short on the play. And I believe
were you offended?
Well, it was Witherspoon, who's like 6'3", if right. So I mean, the threshold there, right? But with my event, no, I mean,
I thought low man wins.
Not in a jump ball situation, right? If it's a run, low man wins because of leverage, but not in that spot. But overall, yeah. Then the third pass, just well placed and great catch by AJ Minka. I don't know if he was a little late coming over to it, but he was kind of the safety help there. Then they changed after that play, after the third touchdown, I believe. Witherspoon either got relieved from the game or had an injury, but they put in Pierre and then they moved Sutton over. But AJ still had that big 41-yarder in the third quarter. Where the one where he got caught from behind. Yeah, he got caught from behind, like you said.
43 for the record.
And Lane Johnson, as colorful as he often is, he said today that when he was talking about kind of them keeping their foot on the pedal, he just said, throw that MFer to number 11, right? Like that was the secret of the offense, and it really worked.
Yeah, sounds about right. It's funny, Zach, we're barely even talking about the flow of this game because it did sort of get out of hand. The Steelers went down and tied it up at 7-7 after that Brandon Graham penalty for he admitted in the locker room after the game that he was sort of trying to get them to jump on offense, and he's like, they got me. Like he's like, what are you gonna do? Which that's fine. But then from there, the Eagles they have the two AJ Brown touchdowns, so it's 21-7. Steelers get a field goal late in the second quarter, so it's 21-10 going into halftime. And then the Eagles, for the first time, put together 2 touchdown drives in the second half and win 35-13. This game, at any point, did you think that this game was not going to be a runaway?
No. I thought from the way they played early, they were going to win this game. I was curious to see that's a big chunk of an apple right there. I was curious to see how they would respond in the second half. And as it turned out, that was a big talking point. That was a talking point during the week. That was a talking point at halftime. And Siriani said that a big thing was how they started the third quarter was something they were paying attention to. So they had, I believe, I don't have the play-by-play in front of me, but I believe it was a 5-play, 75-yard drive to open the third quarter. That was the Zach Pascal touchdown. Obviously, a chunk play there certainly helps. But I believe the Pascal touchdown, I did watch the game back when I got home tonight. Our viewers notice we are home. We're not doing this at the team facility.
You watched the whole game back?
Well, the condensed version. Yeah.
Wow, you had that much time? Good for you.
It's like 36 minutes.
All right.
The condensed version.
You guys are doing me a favor.
And it looked like they had set that up with the passes they were doing to Goddard throughout the game, right?
The Pascal one?
Yes, the Pascal one.
I think it was it was a fake screen to Goddard. Yeah,
exactly, and everything just converged onto Goddard. So they did a good job of getting them to bite, and it reminds me of the Devontae Smith touchdown against Dallas that we talked about, where Smith was running that pick for Goddard all game long. You don't want me to use the term squirted. You want me to use the term leaked. Okay, right?
No, I want you to say squirted.
Okay. So so on this one play, well timed, then he leaked into the end zone. He's wide open. No one's around him. That's kind of like what happened here with Pascal. Obviously not in the pick situation, but they set up this tight end screen for Goddard, which they've been running throughout the year, and they've been doing it effectively. The defense converges onto Goddard, and Pascal's wide open.
Yeah. And Siriani was gushing about that afterwards and saying that this is a guy who does all the dirty work. It's always exciting when you can reward him to some degree, and that's his guy. I wonder if Zach Pascal is. Did we talk about this? Like, I wonder if he's a little bit salty about the fact that Siriani has just stolen like dog mentality from him.
Well, he didn't steal it from him. Zach Pascal got it from somebody else. But yes, and you can read about that on The Athletic as well.
Yes,
last year
Zach was doing a great job repurposing stories in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I do that without shame.
A lot of hashtag Team Squirt in the chat.
I repurpose stories without shame because I write these stories because I want people to read them. Number one, and number two. and number two, I think it's important that it's important to remember that when you write a story, not everyone gets to read it, or it could be a busy week for someone. They didn't come across it, so it could be the first time someone sees that story. So always happy to repurpose a story.
That's true,
and do so without shame.
We also probably overrate the degree to which Twitter drives traffic to our stories, but
I definitely don't overrate it. I rate it very properly.
No, I'm saying I think you do overrate it. I think it doesn't drive that much traffic.
Exactly. Yes, I'm aware of that. Yes.
So then why do you do it then? I'm confused. Are we talking past each other?
I don't expect it to drive significant traffic, but it's one way to repurpose the story at that time. Yes.
Okay.
But I have the metrics. I know exactly how many people go to my story through Twitter.
Big flex.
Same metrics you have, Bo.
How much would you pay to keep your verification on Twitter, Zach?
How much would I pay?
Yeah, out of pocket. If it's not reimbursed.
I haven't put much thought into it. I don't know the answer. Yes.
I would say 0.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, probably 0.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. All right. Anything else on the offense? Because we have the defense to get to, and more importantly, the ramifications of a potentially significant injury to Jordan Davis, which we'll get to. But anything else on the offense before we go to break?
I think we covered Jalen. We covered AJ. Dallas got it at third downs. You did a good job there. Did you want to get into any of the offensive line machinations late in the game, or are we good there?
No, I mean, I think this is part of, in the day after, I touch on the fact that like we go into the locker room today and it's a different scene in there because in service of getting the Eagles ready for the Thursday night game that's coming up, instead of it being a normal locker room, they had exercise, but they had like 3 stations. They had exercise bikes, massage tables, and the like the compression therapy leg sleeves set up. And there's also the hot tub, cold tub in the back. And everybody on the team had to like do one of those 4 things before they left today. Those are normally, and maybe Marissa can talk about this, those are normally Monday routines for them. And in service of like supercharging the body recovery, they did that tonight. And I bring that up because on offense, it was nice for the Eagles that they were able to get Gardner Minshew and 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen out of the game early on. So you take a few hits off. They got some starting defensive linemen, some blows late as well. So that was good. And I mean, and they have been mostly healthy this year. We'll get to Jordan Davis, but Marissa, what do the Browns do when it's a quick turnaround?
Well, I was going to ask, I saw the photo of the bikes and I was like, that is not normal. So I thought that was really interesting. And I probably, like, the guys probably now have off tomorrow. They probably have like a walkthrough or something basic.
Yeah, I think they have to be in tomorrow, but
something very simple. And by doing that today and by giving some guys some rest today, I think that's huge, especially with the Thursday game, because everybody says how quick the turnaround is and physical on your body. I mean, they're coming off the bye, so that's nice too. But I thought that was really cool. I saw the photo on Twitter. So yeah, I mean, I think the fact that they're trying to keep them all like in as healthy as possible is obviously great. So
Zach, would you go for the bike? I know you're a bike man, but let's say you just played a football game. Would you go for the bike? Would you go for the massage? Would you go for the hot tub, cold tub contrast? Or would you go for the compression therapy thing?
Yeah, the Normatec boots. We have them. Yes, we have them at home.
You have it at home?
Yes. Yep.
And does Michael just like sit in it?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He does it. He probably does it like every day, every other day.
Okay.
Yeah, he has this like ugly reclining chair that belongs outside, but he uses it in the living room. And he does the Normatec boots there.
Does he
He
like
has one
it?
for his hip. Loves it. Like he
Okay.
raves about it. And they basically like compress your legs, and it's supposed to help with like circulation and blood flow and all of that. So
yes, so it's hard for me to say because I've never played in an NFL game, so I don't know what my body would demand in that situation. I probably would not do the bike because I just played a game for the past 3 hours.
Yeah, I was
right?
surprised there were so many guys on the bike.
So I would
Brandon Graham
probably
said it was because it was going to get him out fastest. He's always talking about not leaving his wife waiting.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. So I would probably go with the massage in that case, or I mean the hot tub, cold tub's hard for me to say. I know that's something people like after the game, but probably the massage. They had it was interesting with the massage. They had the table set up in the hallway to get in and out of the.
They had both. Yeah, they were there and in the locker room. Yeah.
Yeah, but they were taking advantage of the space. So I had to go back and forth a few times because I went to Siriani's press conference. I went to Jalen Hurts' press conference. And you just see the massage tables set up along the way. So you're like playing slalom with the massage tables. It was
okay.
What would you go with, Bo?
Good question. Probably the massage or the hot tub, cold tub. Now, because some guys were saying they're not doing the compression because like
it's
MD,
like 30 minutes.
Well, and because they have one.
Have it at home. Yeah.
So yeah, Josh Sweat was saying he's going to go massage because he has the Normatec boot at home. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
It's the reporting you can count on. I like that.
That's right. Yeah. Hassan Reddick went for the hot tub, cold tub because he thinks that's best for his legs, and his game is all about having fresh legs.
Well said.
All right. Let's take a little break. Come back, talk Jordan Davis, the ramifications. Could it lead to a trade?
I'm so excited to tell you about our next sponsor because there's no better pairing than birds with friends and a nice glass of wine. First Leaf makes it easy to discover new wines you'll love. They'll learn your taste, then deliver quality wines right to your door. Their website is super easy. You take a short quiz, and then the wine is delivered right to your door, and you can rate it. You can say what you like. They have wines from all over the world, and the list is constantly evolving. It is so cool. Forget driving to the wine shop, forget shopping by the label, and forget overspending on bottles you don't like. With First Leaf, you rate each wine you receive with a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. Then their experts will send you personalized selections with new and exciting bottles in every box. In fact, First Leaf can recommend wines you'll love with 96% accuracy. As your tastes evolve, so will the wines you receive. And if you're not completely satisfied with a bottle, First Leaf will even credit you for another. That's wine made simple. Like I said, the website is so easy to use and the wine is so delicious. So if you want to try it, sign up today and you'll get your first 6 bottles for $39.95 plus free shipping. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/BWF. That's tryfirstleaf.com/BWF to get your first 6 bottles for $39.95 plus free shipping. Tryfirstleaf.com/BWF. If you've ever wondered whether your CBD was working, that means it probably wasn't. Next Evo Naturals developed smart sorb technology clinically proven to help your body absorb CBD 4 times better than regular CBD oil, because oil just doesn't mix with your water-based body. I've recently been trying to work out more and go to the gym. Next Evo Revive CBD Complex is so great for my sore muscles and encourages body recovery and supports healthy joint function. Smart Sorb technology improves CBD's ability to be absorbed, getting into your system in as little as 10 minutes. Next Evo Naturals are scientifically formulated to deliver more CBD in a way your body can actually use it, clinically proven to have 4 times better absorption. To help your body have a healthy inflammatory response, try the new Revive CBD Complex, which adds the benefits of curcumin with CBD. They use clinically proven Smart Sorb CBD and combine it with the patented curcumin blend to promote a healthy inflammatory response and help you feel restored. Don't settle for less. Get your supply of Next Evo Naturals Revive CBD Complex today, or shop their gummies, capsules, and mints, proven to absorb 4 times faster than standard CBD oil. Get up to 25% off when you subscribe and spend $40 or more at nextevo.com/recover with the promo code BIRDS. That's nextevo.com/recover, promo code BIRDS.
All right. We are back on Birds with Friends, Bo, Zach, and Marissa. Time to talk about the defense, and more importantly, the Jordan Davis situation. Jordan Davis goes down in the second quarter of this game, hobbles off, needs to be helped off, leaves, does not return. We're told it's an ankle injury. Then Ian Rappaport reports after the game it is a high ankle sprain based on the initial report. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. That's the typical timetable. In the locker room after the game, we saw Jordan Davis make his way through with a walking boot on his right foot and some of the biggest crutches you've ever seen. And this is a significant injury for the Eagles because for all the reasons we've talked about, it's not just the production that you're missing. He has been the key to the scheme to some degree in allowing them to play that 5-man front so often. Marlon Tuipulotu is the backup nose tackle. He can do it. He had a sack today, not as a nose tackle, but he can do it. It's not quite the same. Javon Hargrave can do it a little bit. He did it last year. That's not maybe the best use of his time, but that's okay. So I think it's a question now. Do you feel like the Eagles need to make a move, Zach, to acquire a veteran nose tackle to help them out? Or can they wait things out with Jordan Davis and get by over the next few weeks, call up Marvin Wilson from the practice squad, and see how things go?
Well, first of all, Marissa, very good job with curcumin in that ad read. Okay, because I've stumbled over that a number of times.
Wow, look at Zach going off topic on a football question.
No, I wanted to say that coming off of the ad, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, to your point, Bo.
I mean, it's rude either way.
Big loss, literally and figuratively here. For the reasons you mentioned, there's no one else like him on the roster. There are players on the team who are better than Davis at this point. But if you lost that player, there's someone with a comparable skill set, maybe not as good a player, but a comparable skill set who could step in. In Davis's case, he's so unique, right? You go to the players who were literally on the team last year, who they acquired Davis so they could fundamentally have a different style of defense. Now, 4 to 6 weeks does not end the season, right? You can probably get by for that period of time with a promotion or, like you said, you either use Hargrave or you use Marlon T in that role, or you play less of the 5-man front. Those are the things Gannon would need to look at. It's a relatively soft portion of their schedule, at least in these next 3 weeks. But you do have, you have the Colts coming up in 3 weeks, and that's a team that can really run the ball. So that's a week when Jordan Davis would have been especially important. I don't know the nose tackle market well right now. I would need to see
You need to sniff it out.
I need to sniff it out.
You see
because it's
nose tackle. Yeah.
You're still good with wordplay, Bo. So nose tackles are typically players who you can get like a replacement level guy on the cheap, or I don't want to say on the street because it is October 30th right now. But I gotta imagine you can, if you wanted one, you can get one for a late round pick. That said, I wouldn't go that route unless you're concerned that Jordan Davis won't be the same the rest of the year. I think for 4 to 6 weeks,
I think that's right.
You can probably get by. But if your medical staff is saying, look, he can come back in 6 weeks, but he's a 350-pound man, or however many pounds he is right now, and this ankle injury is really going to affect him the rest of the year, that's when you say, all right, do we need to get a solution in here for the next 3 months and not the next 6 weeks?
And I also think, the stakes for this team are different. So it doesn't really behoove the Eagles to bring back Jordan Davis when he's ready to gut through a game, right?
Yep.
The important thing is making sure that when he comes back, he can be healthy and that he's good in the playoffs and in the stretch and down the stretch, right? So if you make a move, maybe it's it's not totally dissimilar from bringing in Robert Quinn to allow everybody else to be, healthy and fresh down the stretch. If you can bring somebody in who's going to help you get through the next 6, 7, 8 weeks while keeping everybody else relatively healthy, I think that matters. You don't want to put too much on Javon Hargrave, and certainly not you don't want to put all of it on Tui. I think probably what happens is they don't play quite as much of that 5-1-5, but they're much worse when they play 4 downs. They just are. And so I think it's a really interesting quandary for them, and one that they don't have a lot of time. Like they got 2 days to figure this out. So we'll see what they do. I actually do think, Marvin Wilson was good in the summer.
Convince me.
I don't know. I don't know that he
nor Michael Dunn, by the way,
get that done. That's right. Michael Dunn was very impressed with Marvin Wilson after playing with him in Cleveland. Said he got a lot better. But I don't know. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they throw a late conditional pick just to get a veteran body in there to help them get through the next few weeks.
To me, that's not the route I would go. Like you said, there's not this necessity over these next 4 to 6 weeks to win every game here, right?
No, but it's to help them all. It's to help keep everybody fresh through that stretch.
Yeah, I would try to get by with what you have, unless you're concerned that he won't be right the rest of the way. That's why you have depth. And I know it's not a replaceable player, because literally there are very few people on this planet who are walking around who have the athleticism and the size combination that Jordan Davis has. But if you're talking about for those audio listeners, Bo just raised his hands. If you haven't heard about Bo's baseball exploits or basketball exploits, you just haven't been listening long enough.
Wait till we get to my tennis exploits. That's coming in the third, in the third act.
So no, but I do think we should talk about this defensive performance. I agree with you that the expected absence of Jordan Davis here should not be or cannot be overstated, given how unique he is. I just think it's one of those things you have to suck up and figure out a way to get through it. You have Houston, you have Washington, 2 teams that I don't want to say you can beat without Jordan Davis, but that Jordan Davis shouldn't be the difference between a win and loss in those games. The Indianapolis game, that would worry me, because that's a team that's going to run the ball quite a bit. You want your 5-man front there. After that, they have Green Bay. I have Green Bay on in the corner of my eye right here. It seems to be a Green Bay team that's falling to 3-5. And the week after that, doing it with
such grace.
The week after that is what? What's the first? Who's the first week of December?
Is it Giants?
Tennessee.
Or is that the next week?
Yeah.
Giants, Packers, then Tennessee, then Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tennessee is a week when you definitely want a guy like Jordan Davis, right? So it could hurt them there as well.
There you go. All right. What about the defensive performance in this game, Zach? We talked about them gaming some things up front, seemingly for the first time in a while. That was nice to see. Your boy Hassan Reddick getting the sack party going. CJ Gardner-Johnson, the first Eagle with a sack and an interception in the same game since. Who can you name?
Embarrassed to say I don't have this.
Another ZB favorite, I'll tell you that.
Malcolm Jenkins?
Close.
Right. Roddy McLeod?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe that was 2019. The interception was basically TJ Edwards' play. He made a great job dropping into zone and deflecting that ball, and then the sack came on a well-timed blitz, which he was free. But, I thought the defense did good. You know what? We've seen a lot of bad quarterbacks against this Eagles team over the past year and a half. Kenny Pickett wasn't that bad. I thought Kenny Pickett was fine. I think Kenny Pickett's going to stick.
Well, that Gianni's chicken vodka rap was fueling him on some of those runs. Look, the defense
once he gets away from Matt Canada, look out.
The touchdown play was a good play designed by Matt Canada. The
first good play call he's had in his life.
The pass by, well, not of his life. He was a good coordinator at NC State.
It's interesting you say that because I've heard some stories about him at NC State, and I would not say they reflect well on him.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
He had a very good reputation when he was at NC State.
I've heard that his reputation was not so great.
As an offensive mind?
As an offensive human being.
Oh, I can't. I don't know anything about the human being part of it, but okay. So, all right, let me regroup here. What I was about to say was this defense allowed only one touchdown. And by the way, if not for that Brandon Graham penalty, it would have been just 4 field goals, right? They would have kept them out of the end zone. If you are not familiar with Bo's Bo's baseball exploits, then you probably are also not familiar with my obsession with third down defense. Okay, so I will reiterate it here. I believe third down defense is critical. That's not a controversial or going out on a ledge.
It does fly in the face of your support of Jonathan Gannon, who has typically not been not seemed to care very much about third down defense. But
well, the Eagles held the Steelers to 1 of 12 on third downs today. That is the worst by an opposing offense since Week 17 of the 2018 season. That season finale against Washington, and Pittsburgh's
game.
No,
that's 18.
That's the Foles game.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's average distance to go on third downs was 8.75 yards. Third down defense was critical here. They were able to get them off the field, and this defense just, I don't want to say quietly, but they're not going up against quarterbacks that really scare you, right? And so I think there's kind of this expectation that defense should play like this. There should never be an expectation that you have 6 sacks and 2 takeaways and you keep the opposing team to 1 of 12 on third down. That's exceptional play. So a lot of credit to this defense.
Now there is a bit of a flaw here, as people are pointing out in the chat. 1 for 12 on third down is all well and good, but they were also 4 for 4 on fourth down. So really, it's like 5 for 12 in terms of stopping conversions.
Is Professor Selman in the chat here?
No, but that's true. I mean, right? Like, wouldn't you agree that the third down is, as you say, the money down because it gets you off the field? So a third down stop does not really matter if you're going to let them stay on the field and pick up a first down on the next play.
So I believe one of those fourth downs was a fake punt.
Yeah, correct? That's true. One was the fake punt and one was the Brandon Graham.
And then what? Yeah, and
so
one was
really
the fourth.
Only 2. So you're right.
Yeah, one was 4th and goal at the 1 where you want to stop them there, right? But look, they made a real nice play there. Look, I'm not gonna. Yeah, you want to get off the field on all fourth downs. I get it.
So let's call it. So there were 12 third down opportunities, and 2 of them led to fourth down conversions that were not sort of circumstantial. So let's say they were 3 for 12. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Still.
Yes. Yeah, it's really good. So I think
Zach, that you made the point. The average distance was like 8.75, and I know that if you're a football guy, if you want to win on third down, you got to win on first and second down.
And that's Professor Selman's point, by the way, was that they didn't get into enough third downs, right? Bottom line, I think the way this defense is playing deserves a lot of credit. I get it that it could be a different story when they go up against, if they were to go up against a Josh Allen in the last game of the season, or if they have a playoff game against, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know what's going to happen with Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Dak Prescott, let's say.
Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. Well, if they play, on Christmas Eve against Dak Prescott,
sure,
that's going to be a tough game. That said, I like the way this defense is playing. I like the way Jonathan Gannon's calling it. Professor Selma, you can call me a Gannon apologist for doing so.
I know. I think they're playing very well. You
Although,
don't have to apologize for gassing up Johnny Gans after this game.
But I'm impressed with this defense, and we'll see if they keep it going on Thursday against Houston. I suspect they will.
Oh, a little preview. All right. Anything else about this game that we need to talk about?
Do you think we need a special teams discussion?
Sure, let's talk about it. Because it's really hard for me to get worked up about a fourth down, like a fake punt run on 4th and 2, and you give up 4 yards. Like, if you're going to devote all of your resources to making sure that they don't run for 2 yards, then you're borrowing against the return to some degree, right? Now, maybe they're not doing a good enough job. Like, I'm much more bothered by like the lack of return explosiveness, but that's personnel based to me. Like, does it really bother you that they gave up? Maybe they're showing something that is allowing teams to get those fake punt runs. This is the second one, but like, we're talking about a 2-yard pickup. Is that a big deal? Is that is that like someone need to be fired over that? I don't think so.
So I'm trying to kind of I'm looking at the bigger picture here. If there's a problem, or if there's such a symptom, or if this is a symptom of a problem, right? When it's happened twice in 3 weeks, it makes me wonder if there's a tell with something with either the way they're lining up or something with their special teams that's prompting teams to do this. The teams don't go for fake punts often enough that they'd be successful against you twice in 3 weeks in comparable plays in comparable situations, right? So it lends me to think that they're seeing something, and that's what needs to be cleaned up more than within itself. A team converts a fake punt. It's something it by definition catches you off guard. Okay, that's sometimes you just have to chalk that up, credit to the opposing special teams. When it happens twice in 3 weeks, that's when you need to take a step back and say, let's not give them credit here. Let's figure out what we're doing that's prompting them to go for this, because it can't just be situational. It needs to be circumstantial. It needs to be circumstantial.
Okay. And then do we not give special teams credit for like a nice downing of the punt at the 1 yard line with Zach McPherson and Aaron Sipas?
Oh no, you do. You do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I'm a little bit tired of the Eagles have the worst special teams in the world. I think they're like 22nd in DVOA, which is not bad considering the personnel decisions they've made. I mean, the only thing that is really concerning, I think, is like the kickoff returns they've allowed to like the 40-yard line, right? Those are bad, and those need to get better.
And the one today got called back because of a penalty. Yep.
That's that is the thing to me that would stick in my craw a little bit. And I mean, maybe that's personnel derived a little bit, but that's something that you should be able to coach it better. That's the only thing that I'm really worried about.
Yeah, to an extent, being a special teams player or special teams coordinator, it's the way Lane Johnson was describing playing offensive line. It's like no one's patting you on the back for a well-executed punt.
Right, like the McPherson thing. Who's talking about that? Like,
yes. But when something goes bad, it's like, man, the special teams are really going to cost them. I do find it almost like, there are certain things that have come up this year where someone says, this is really going to cost them this year when they're undefeated. It literally has not cost them this year. It is happening and it hasn't cost them. Now you could say, if it were to cost them, it would come in a situation where the offense, the defense isn't playing well. So therefore, this is a contributing factor to it. But we have 7 games of evidence to suggest that the special teams is not losing games for them. Like, they are winning games, and they're winning them fairly convincingly. Other than the Arizona game, they're like, teams aren't coming within a touchdown of them, basically, right? So I give them I think that there tends to be, whether it's the media or fans, like, if things seem too good to be true, let's figure out what's wrong with them. And
I'm sure I'm culpable of that to some degree too.
Yeah, it's constructive to say, are there problems in defeat I'm sorry. Are there problems in victory that you're overlooking and they're gonna be more blatant in defeat? That's constructive. I think it's unconstructive to say, well, they're winning, but something needs to be bad. Let's find something that's not working. They're winning because they're a good football team right now, and they're playing mediocre to bad football teams for the most part. That's why they're winning games. Bottom line.
Okay, well said. Anything else on this front?
No, we're good.
All right. Let's take our last break. Come back, talk Swooper, maybe a little Phils, a little World Series, and then my grouse, which is really sticking in my craw.
Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Mental health is important in the sports world, from athletes taking time off to tend to mental health issues to the everyday importance of being focused. I've seen this up close in my coverage with two of the outstanding players I've covered, missing time while navigating mental health challenges. More athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health, but you don't have to be a pro to want to be at the top of your game. Everyone needs to take care of their mental well-being, whether you're an athlete or not. Therapy is the best way to stay in peak mental shape. Therapy can be beneficial, from helping you feel like yourself, less stressed, and more confident. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime. When you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/BWF today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/BWF.
All right, back on Birds with Friends. Bo, Zach, and MD, who was looking to secure a second straight win in Swooper Storecasting, but she only had 3 turkeys in the air. One of them, Robert Quinn, has at least 1 sack. Did not happen. Robert Quinn played 19 snaps in this game per True Media, 6 of them in the first half, mostly in the nickel. And I think he was credited with 2 pressures on Pro Football Focus. We'll see if that's accurate. Take that with a grain of salt. But he was out there. Good for him. No sacks. Jalen Hurts has more rushing yards than Najee Harris. Najee Harris only had 32 rushing yards. I think if you had known that ahead of time.
Of course, it's the game that they don't run at all, you know? So yeah. I'm like, come on.
Only 10
like,
rushing
run
yards.
The ball, Jalen. Run the ball.
Take those hits, dude. But you did hit on the most fun.
I did.
Both 2-minute warnings occur at exactly 2 minutes. Were you sitting there rooting for that second one?
So yeah, so my cousin and her fiance are in town. So we were at brunch for the first part. And I'm like, we got to pay attention to this. And he's like, what? And I'm like, where the 2-minute warning is. You know, we're at brunch, so we couldn't hear the sound. And he's like, I think it was 2 minutes. And I'm like checking on my phone instantly. We rush home, and then we're watching it. And at the end of the game, I like turned away for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? So yes, that was a very fun one to root for, and I'm very glad that it hit. But we'll see how the rest goes. So
we'll see how the rest goes.
Continue.
Good job by you. You got 1 for 3.
I'm glad I didn't trade that one to you.
Zach, or Bo rather. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have gotten it.
Yeah.
In retrospect. I had the Phillies score more runs in games 1 and 2 combined than the losing team scores points on Sunday. That did not happen. Steelers scored 13 points. That's more than the Phillies had. I had the Steelers win the turnover battle. Didn't happen. I had there is a lost fumble during a play from scrimmage. Nailed it. Javon Hargrave gets the ball loose from Kenny Pickett. Avonte Maddox picks it up. 1 for your boy. Then I had the Eagles score more second half points than first half points. They scored 14 in the second half, but 21 in the first, so only 1 for me. Zach, Jalen Hurts passes. Now, Zach spent the most turkeys of any of us, spent 26, but still has the most left after his performance 2 weeks ago, in which he was very miserly with his turkeys. Jalen Hurts passes for 62 or more yards than Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett had 191 passing yards. Jalen Hurts, 285. A turkey in the bucket for Zach. That's
I
one.
was
We're all
worried
tied
about
up.
that one at the end. I mean, I wasn't worried, but I was hoping there was some garbage time yardage there for Kenny, but Zach got it. Good one, Zach.
Thank you.
Zach had the broadcast, shows a photo or artist's rendering of Donovan McNabb and Kenny Pickett together. Did this happen?
I don't
Not that
believe so.
saw.
I don't believe
No
so.
artist
I
rendering.
didn't see any reactions on
No.
Twitter
Yeah.
about it. So you
No.
fail there. Did Nick Siriani wear any Philly stuff in the post-game press conference?
No, he wore it before the game.
He did wear it
No.
before
He
the
wore
game,
it.
and so I thought that might mean he would wear it back. But
Yes. Yeah, he had a big crew waiting for him after the game. So I don't know if he changed before the press conference. He had his son and his daughter, his youngest son and his youngest daughter sitting on his lap in this game. I believe his youngest son and youngest daughter, but they were both sitting on his lap.
I don't know what that has to do with the Phillies attire.
I was
but
painting the picture of the post-game press conference for you.
that was your artist's rendering.
Yeah.
The Eagles force a 3-and-out on 25% or more of the Steelers' drives. Did this happen, Zach?
I have to look that up. I'm not sure.
What? We don't know?
I don't know. Well, hold on.
I was anxiously awaiting that one because I didn't know how to figure that out because you guys have access
Okay,
to
hold on. Possessions, Steelers. First one, a 3-and-out, 1 for 1. Second one, not. Third one, yes. Fourth one, yes. So that's 3 for 4. Then a not, so 3 for 5. Then a 2-play drive at the end of the half that doesn't count. Then 4 more that were not, so 3 for 9. Yeah, you got it.
Wait,
Congratulations.
why does that one not count?
I don't think end of half ones count, but even if it does, it's 3 for 10.
Okay.
It's just still, yeah.
Just making sure here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Zach. And the
Sorry,
other one.
Zach.
No
Well,
problem.
it didn't really matter because Zach also had there are 1 or 0 lead changes in the game,
Yes. And
which
that
he
was-
did hit.
yes.
So Zach,
Big
welcome to
winner.
2022. Congratulations, you are on the board. You join Marissa at 1 point, trailing my 5.
This skins game is really annoying, but I appreciate it. I
How do you feel,
appreciate it.
Zach?
How do I feel?
Mhm.
I'm happy about the story that I wrote. I think this podcast is going well, and a big week ahead of us, and that is more my concern than Swooper Shortcasting.
Come on, you say that, but like you're the only one who shows up with a pre-done budget for a swooper.
And you carry over a lot of turkeys next week, and you got the
That's
W,
true.
so big week.
Yep. Yeah.
You self-scouted in the bye, and you got the W, and move on with a lot of turkeys. So we should be worried.
Yeah. Siriani and me are similar in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah. We applied what we learned.
How are you feeling about the Phils, Zach? What'd you do this weekend? How'd you watch the games?
I watched the games. The first few, I watched the games at home. My wife and me, and game 1 was epic.
Mhm.
Was
For
awesome.
lack of a better term, like that. I think Matt Gelb wrote it well. That's a game that we are going to be hearing about for years to come, and very similar actually. We talked about this with Gelb, the game 1 of the Sixers Lakers in 2001, right? Where they have this furious comeback late, and there's in 2001 you had the step over in game 1. Here you have JT and the emotion JT showed. Really impressed there. Last night, it was last night. My days are blending together. That was the Astros looking like the Astros from the start of the game. And I know that there's a lot of intrigue about Fromber and if there's any impropriety going on. The bottom line is he's been an effective pitcher now and an innings eater, throughout the season. So it's hard to imagine something happen on the grandest stage of baseball. But bottom line is he pitched well. The Phillies didn't get what they needed from their ace, but they did get what they needed going to Houston. And they come back now, split and a chance. I mean, your best case scenario is you don't return to Houston, but certainly you have a chance to take control of the series on your home field. And this is where the 2-3-2 helps you out, right? If you're the visiting or the team that only has 3 home games, but you get one of those first ones, then you're thankful it's 2-3-2 and not 2-2-1-1-1.
There you go.
What about you, Bo? You're the
Enjoyed
house yourself. Yeah.
Enjoyed watching the game on Friday night with some friends. Went to we trying to bop around, trying to find a place where we could sit and watch and have some good have a good, as you know, Zach, this was my weekend with no family, so I was like, how am I going to spend this time?
So where'd you go Friday?
We ended up at Bridget Foy's. Had a good time watching the game. Shout out to Joe and Mike and Colt. Fantastic time. Good atmosphere. Loved it. And then yesterday I was a little bit down for the count following the double vaccine shot on Friday, flu and COVID booster. So watched the whole game in bed. Good stuff. Okay.
And what's your prediction for these next 2 games here?
What's my prediction?
Or these next 3 games, I should
Pain.
say. Pain? Okay. No, but seriously. You got Noah Syndergaard versus Lance McCullers tomorrow night on Halloween.
I think the Phillies are going to win tomorrow night.
Really? With Noah? Okay.
With Noah, with McCullers, I think the crowd's going to be raucous.
Yes.
I think that matters.
What's the forecast tomorrow night? I know Emily told me there's some rain. There's some rain coming. Is it rain that's going to affect the game, or is it just?
I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist.
There's some rain coming through Ohio, so I bet there's some rain coming through there.
Paul, it's the lack of salesmanship on that. Yeah, so it looks like very light rain. Doesn't look like it's going to affect much tomorrow night.
Tuesday looks more rainy. Tuesday morning.
Yeah, Tuesday morning. But no, the Phillies accomplished what they needed to accomplish in Houston, and brilliant managing.
I don't know. I feel like that's sort of loser talk. We could have won that game last night. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have your best pitcher on the mound for game 2 with the chance to go up 2-0, I get that. I'm just saying, when you boarded the plane to Houston, if someone told you you're going to fly back 1-1, you would take that.
I'm going to say the Phillies win Monday. They win Tuesday. And then Nola has another disappointing performance in game 5. They lose and go back to Houston. And then Wheeler, after looking like he's not all the way himself in game 2, gets his gas back. He's hitting 98, and he has a great performance in game 6, and they close it out in 6. How about that?
There you go.
I don't know.
Are you enjoying the broadcast?
I think the broadcast is fine. I don't know. It's Smoltz can do a little too much talking sometimes, I think. Okay. What do you think? I feel like you have something to say about it.
No, I don't. Is it Joe Davis, the play-by-play guy?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying Joe Davis. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah. I was on radio the other day, and I was between Charlie Manuel and Alex Rodriguez. And I say it was with Anthony Gargano. And I said to Anthony, between the 3 of us, we have 700. I think I said we have 700 career home runs, right? And it was cool going on before Alex Rodriguez, who
you got a big smile on your face when you were looking at your phone, and I said, "What's going on?" And you said, "Well, I used to love A-Rod."
yeah. Growing up, I mean, when he was the Mariners A-Rod, like the 40-40 A-Rod, he was awesome. But on the broadcast, correct me if I'm wrong here, he always seems to bring up Kevin Long, the Phillies hitting coach. And I know Kevin Long was the hitting coach with the Yankees, but it's like when Bo and Shield were talking about anything with the offensive line, they had to mention how brilliant Jeff Stoutland is.
A little different.
It's like everything that happens with the Phillies hitting, it goes back to Kevin Long, it sounds like.
I noticed that too. I think they have a very good relationship, the 2 of them. So just giving them some love.
Like Bo and Shield and Stoutland. Yes.
Wow, is that a shot fired an hour and 9 minutes in?
No, it's a compliment. It's a compliment.
It didn't sound like a compliment. All right. I need to take you through my saga here.
Okay.
For my grouse. Okay. Because this has been weighing on me. All right. I've been doing this tennis league, right? where you like people sign up, you're basically strangers. You find a time, you reach out to each other, you find a time to play. It's been fun. Almost universally, everybody I've played has been like a super nice person. Like very easy to do. It's been really good. I had an interaction that did not go so well. Okay.
You don't say.
And I'm going to take you through the whole saga. You tell me
How much time do we have?
if I have the right read here or not. Okay. You tell me if I'm the bad guy. And I'm not going to say the guy's name because I'm not going to out him, but here we go. So I email him, say, hey, so-and-so, Bo from Philly Tennis here, wondering if you're free at all Monday or Tuesday during the day for a match. Now he has everybody has like a preferred court next to their name. I say, I can make it to your court or anywhere else in the city. He says, that would be great. I prefer to play during the day. Can you make a reservation at so-and-so? Monday between 9 and 1 works great. Just let me know what you prefer. Now, this was last week during the bye, so Monday was good. I said, great. Monday during the day works well. I don't have a membership there to reserve court time to you. And he says, I do not. I could reserve a different place, though. That was Saturday. So then on Sunday, I said, I can definitely play at that place on Monday. And then on Monday, I went by the court and I said, it had rained, court's too wet, but I signed up for tomorrow, Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. in case that works. He says, unfortunately, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. How about Wednesday? I say, too bad. Bummer. Can't do Wednesday. Friday afternoon is open. This is on Tuesday. He says, okay, let's aim for Friday. That's Tuesday. Then he reaches out to me via text on Thursday evening. I hadn't heard from him. There was nothing was scheduled for Friday. Meanwhile, somebody else had reached out to me, someone who had already played before, had a great time with, if I wanted to play Friday afternoon. I hadn't heard from this guy. So I said, yeah, let's play Friday afternoon. Then this guy, because he hadn't responded to me, then this guy texts me, says, hey, are we still at 8 o'clock Thursday night? He says, hey, are we still good for tomorrow? What time works? I said, I actually set up another match for tomorrow, but I did put my name in at a different court at 5 o'clock. I'm happy to double dip. Like, just so you know, I'm playing someone else earlier. I could play again later. And he says, 5 is too late for me. How about Saturday morning instead? I say, yeah, no problem. Let's play Saturday morning. He says, what's the earliest you can play Saturday? I said, what time did you have in mind? He says, yada, yada, yada. How about 9:30? I say, perfect. Now I'm playing Friday afternoon and my strings break on my racket and I've only got one racket. So I text him at 3:43 p.m. on Friday afternoon. I say, hey, sorry about this, but I have to cancel for tomorrow. My strings broke this afternoon. Now, the pattern is this guy doesn't respond, right? It takes him a long time to respond generally. I assume he's reading. He texts me at 8:10 Saturday morning. Just seeing this now, will you play if I loan you a racket? I haven't played it all this week because I thought I was playing you yesterday and then didn't schedule someone else today because of you. A little pointed.
He's offering you a racket. Seems reasonable.
Okay. And I said, I can do that. I can play around 11:30. I responded an hour later. I was sleeping. Again, this was my weekend with no kids. So at 9:30, he goes, okay, let's do it, exclamation point. And then he says, I have to edit the score submission. I submitted a cancellation. Now, a cancellation in the rules means that it's called a late cancellation. It means that I get a strike on my record for having canceled too late. If you get 3 strikes, you're kicked out of the league. It means he gets an automatic win and I get an automatic loss. And the rules on the cancellation are canceled within 4 hours of the scheduled time. I texted him at 3:45 the afternoon prior for a 9:30 match, and he submits a 9:30. He submits a 4-hour cancellation, and then he goes, "Can you play at 1:30?" And I'm like, wait a second. I respond, dude, I sent you a text yesterday afternoon and you submit a cancellation, quote unquote, within 4 hours. And he says, I just saw this morning. It was very frustrating because I turned others down for a game yesterday, and then I got inquiries for this morning that I turned down too. I texted you offering another racket and didn't get a chance to respond for an hour, so I was frustrated. I'm sure I can edit it. Are we on for 1:30 or not?
So what did you say?
Are we on for 1:30 or not? I said, sorry, can't do it. I'm not playing with this guy after that. He says, can't play at 1:30, can't play there or can't play at 1:30. I said, no, not going to do it. Like, would appreciate you rescinding the match cancellation. He goes, can you play tomorrow morning then? I say, no, I work on Sundays. He says, Monday morning? I said, no, Tuesday afternoon is probably my only chance this week. Yesterday, I texted him so this was all Saturday. He didn't respond to that. Yesterday, I said, are you sticking with the cancellation? He says, no, we can play Tuesday. That's fine. What time? I said, still waiting on my schedule. As Zach knows, the media schedule has not been sent this week, but I think around 2:30 or 3 might work. I wake up this morning. He texts me in the morning. The more I thought about it, I don't think Tuesday makes sense. Listen to this. I would be too annoyed if you canceled. Good luck with everything. I said, please rescind the late cancellation then. It's not my fault you didn't check your text messages all of Friday afternoon/night. No response since.
Wow.
How long has this story been going on?
I need to talk this out.
Okay.
I mean, have you looked this person up on social media? That's what I want to know.
Well, Marissa, I'm so glad you asked. Yes, I have. And I will not get into the very specific details.
Can you send me the name off air just so I can
I
look
sure
him
will.
up?
And Marissa, I could send you to his personal website, which features, he's a performer of sorts to some degree. And there's a video which features some very casual misogyny, which I thought was telling. I think this is the exact type of person that I expect him to be. But there is one saving grace here, okay? Because not only did I look up who he is, I also looked up his tennis history. Now, 2 things. One, I need to mention, by taking this dishonorable late cancellation victory, he has bumped himself up to like the 2 seed in the playoffs and bumped me down, which I do not deserve to be bumped down for. But I looked up his tennis history. Okay.
For our audio listeners, Bo is pulling up a separate computer that he has the facts on.
And listen to this. Because I wanted to know if he had won any other like cheap victories like this. He had not. This was his first submitted late cancellation. But his very first match in the league, October 7th, 2021, a loss, 6-1, 6-2, to
You?
R. Bobby.
Oh, so you've played him
Rich Bobby's-
before.
Rich
no,
Bobby.
Bobby.
A year ago.
I thought you were saying R. Wolf.
A year ago, Rich Bobby knew this was going to happen, and he defended my honor against this ultimate grouse. Rich, I love you. Thank you for having my back.
So did you reach out to Rich?
No, this is me. This is me telling Rich.
Oh, I thought you would have texted Rich instantly and been like, who is this guy?
I wanted him to get the story. I wanted him to get the whole thing, and then we can talk about it after.
I'm not sure he lasted this long.
But
But
he's not Roman.
question for you, Bo. Have you ever submitted a late cancellation to anybody
No,
else?
and I would never do that. Even if somebody canceled an hour before, if they had to cancel, I'm sure they had a reason. I'm not taking a cheap victory like that.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't do it if the person texted me the afternoon earlier, the afternoon before, and I'm the one who didn't check my text messages. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
The late cancellation is the annoying part in this here, right? More than anything else. It's like that seems petty. There's at this age,
I was very
people have
frustrated.
families. I think people play, telephone tag or It's hard to make plans. It's hard to arrange something. But the late cancellation seems petty. That's the part of the story that would bother me the most.
Yeah, and just him generally being a dillweed. Like, what is going on with this guy? I'm telling you, everybody else I have dealt with in this league has been great. It has been like seamless, like nice people. I can't believe this guy.
So you're gonna go to the commissioner?
And I feel like I'm getting. He's trying to like gaslight me, like he's the victim. It's unbelievable. He's the one who wasn't responding the whole lead up. He was the one who was not responding, and I'm the guy? Are you kidding me?
We spent about 2 minutes tonight on the pass rush and about 15 minutes on the.
I'm telling you, I needed to. I need to get this off my chest. I woke up this morning and it was pissing me off, and then he texted again.
It's probably the same guy who accused Nick Siriani of being it's
Templar
ripping on him. Yeah. I didn't have anything like that in my weekend, so I'm glad you told that story.
So are you gonna next time you play, like, are you gonna casually drop this guy's name around the circles of the group and be like, have you played with X? As Zach Young,
like now it's on my record. Like I'm the kind of person who would cancel late. I'm not that kind of guy. Don't put that on my record. I don't want the other people in the league thinking I'm a late canceler.
Yeah, he should rescind the late cancellation. He should rescind.
Yeah, but this is a man with no honor, no honesty. Probably lives a very sad life.
Oh man,
I hope he's not a listener.
I know. I was thinking that too.
Is.
Wow.
If you are a listener, please. If you're the culprit, how about this? I know you and Sheil used to do hashtag Bo tennis partner, right? Or
I like that.
hashtag Bo tennis.
Put the guy's name up. This is not. Yeah, no. But this is a story of what's going on in my life. In my life, this guy is like, what is? I feel like I'm being tormented by a liar.
Well, did he lie, or he put in the?
Yeah, well, he lied. He put the late cancellation in within 4 hours. That's a lie. That's a lie.
This is like a plot of Seinfeld, as nicest Eagles fan says.
What happens if we meet in the playoffs? It's going to be too contested. It's going to be too contentious.
I think you have to invite listeners if you meet in the playoffs. Like, it has to be.
Get myself a cheering section?
Yeah.
That's kind of a good idea.
Posters.
That's kind of a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I think you need to get your racket fixed first.
I did that on Saturday. That's how I spent my day off. My day with no family. My day alone. Went and got a new racket. I'm excited about it.
So how does that work? You have to get a new racket, or can you fix the strings on your? I don't know anything about tennis.
Actually, I got my strings fixed. Well, they're not fixed yet, but they're in the process of getting them fixed. And I got it because my racket was like 15 years old. Yeah. I pulled the trigger. I bought myself a new racket. Pretty excited.
Good. Nice. I know very little about tennis
because I want to get back out there because I'm thinking I got to play this guy on Tuesday. But you know what? The more I think about it, let's not play because you might cancel, and that would really pee me off. Like, how accusatory, how passive aggressive is that to a stranger?
You're gonna be so fired up when you play this guy.
Yeah, it's gonna look like Wimbledon out there. You're gonna be slamming the ball. I hope you play him on Tuesday.
He says cancel culture run amok, as somebody says. Yeah.
The Eagles are gonna have a big game, and Bo's not gonna show up to the game because he's playing a tennis match against culprit number. Yeah, whoever the name is.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
I'm sorry that occurred.
I feel like I got the exact correct read on this guy. That's all I need.
We'll need updates throughout the week.
Yeah,
and I will need his name off air to stalk.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone listening to our tennis podcast with an Eagles segment attached to it. It's very nice.
Well, I mean, I didn't lead with it. I did leave it for the last segment.
True. Yeah. True.
All right.
We
Well,
have
it's a
a
short-
few requests for a post-game pod after the match. So a post-match.
Well, I
pod.
don't know. I mean, I don't know what the bracket's going to be set up like. I mean, I actually do hope that I don't have to play this guy because it would. I don't think it would go well for anybody. But
Guy Couch says, sorry, did this interrupt the baseball talk, Zach? Guy, our entire
I also
city
like if
is
I mean,
wrapped
what
up
if
in the Phillies right now. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go on, Bo.
No, it's okay.
No. What were you saying? Probably
don't
not
even
something
remember.
productive. Okay.
Probably not. All right. Yeah. Also, like if we do have a match scheduled and he's 1 minute late, that's it. He's late. I get the win. That's what I'm putting in.
You can't submit a cancellation.
That's what I should have done though. It occurred to me afterwards. He texted the thing about let's can't play Tuesday. I should have waited until Tuesday and then submitted a late cancellation and said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't check my text for 2 days. You really screwed me over." And boy, was I really frustrated. I could have played with someone else on Tuesday.
No, but you can't submit a cancellation. You have to be the bigger person. An eye for an eye leaves everyone blind.
That's right.
Or you get 2 eyes in a row, like who's somebody's got 2 eyes in their name. I don't know. Okay. All right. Well, Zach, what's coming up this week? It's a short week. What do we got?
Thank you for asking. We have Nick Siriani tomorrow. The players will be in, but we will not be speaking to them tomorrow. We will be speaking to them on Tuesday. We'll get the coordinators, we'll get the players on Tuesday. That will be our lone access to those guys this week. Wednesday, we should hear again from Siriani, hopefully, and we will fly out to Houston. I think you Wednesday morning, me Wednesday evening. The Phillies play on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the big story, the big news tomorrow will be Jordan Davis. I think Bo foreshadowed what the news will be, that he might miss a few weeks here. The big storyline this week is going to be Jalen Hurts returning to his hometown of Houston. He returned there when he was in when he was in college. He played a game in Houston, but he has never played in Reliance Stadium, a place that he grew up going to. His godfather was a member of the Houston Texans staff, and he spent a lot of time at the Texans facility. So that will be a big story this week, but a bigger story will be the Eagles trying to move on to 8-0, which I believe will be their best mark in, I need to look up the last time they won it, but they lost in the 8th game in 2004, correct? That Steelers game, they started 7-0 and they lost to the Steelers, I believe. I will look that up, but a big, quick week for the Eagles, and then the Phillies take over. So a lot to discuss, and we will be back. We're figuring out when we will be back, but my guess is Tuesday afternoon, Bo's tennis schedule depending.
Apparently I'm open now. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it. So the Eagles go to 7-0, 35-13 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got the Houston Texans on deck. We'll talk to you at some point this week once before we get to the Thursday night game. So for Zach and Marissa and Elijah and Templar, I'm Bo. We thank you for listening. We'll talk to you later this week. And for Rich Bobby, my protector, my knight in shining armor, we thank you for listening. And as always, we love you.